Like, I'm guilty. I'm guilty. How you guys doing? How you guys doing? Well, I'm going to give you a little bit of DMX news real quick. Nothing has changed in his brainwaves. So they're saying the family is, they got a hard battle. They got to have to decide what they want to do. Me personally, I still keep him alive. I've seen people, I've heard, not I've seen personally, but I've read of people been comas years and come out of it. So we'll see. But that's their decision, and we have to respect their decision. Also, I want to give my shout out and my condolences to my wife's kid's godmother. Her son yesterday in Florida, if you see the news in Orlando, died in a motorcycle crash. 18 years old. He was taking his girlfriend to her house, and the guy came out of the exit and rammed him to the back and ran them over, and they left the car there and they kept on running. So it was a hit and run, but they left the car and he passed away, and the girl is in serious condition. So let's put prayers for her, and hope everything is okay, man. People just don't, if you hit someone, stay there and stay there. Make sure that the person is okay, because even if you run, you're not doing nothing. But if you stay there and you get that person 911, because you never know, that person may, who knows when a car is going to come pass by, when another passenger is going to come by, or another driver is going to come by, another passerby is going to come by, and be able to help out. You call 911 and you just attend to the consequences. Nothing wrong. There is nothing wrong with that. But anyway, so I want to tell you guys, if you guys ever tasted anything in Puerto Rico, if you've ever been to Puerto Rico, you want to taste something Puerto Rican, I'm going to say this is a malt beverage. There is no alcohol in it. It's not an alcoholic beverage. It's called Malta India. This tastes good. When you do Spanish rice or your food, instead of a soda, drink this. You're going to like this. Here we go. Look at it. So this is what we drink. I drink it once in a blue moon. It's not something that I drink every day. But I'm also looking at my stocks. I want to see what my gain was. So I invested in Marvel stocks. Marvel did the other day. They joined. They're doing conductors for they're semiconductors, but they're doing right now. They joined with Samsung to work with their 5G. All right, so let's work with Samsung for their 5G. And guys, if you want to donate to King Geo, don't forget you can do it through Cash App, or you can, when I'm on live, you can do a live with me and you can donate on my super chat. You can do that too. There we go. Now, this is going to be, let's talk about, I wanted to talk a little bit about Candice Owens. I wanted to put the Candice Owens because this girl tries to be relevant, and this girl tries to be into the game, and apparently she's not into the game. She wants to get all these people to go as far right as possible. She wants to blame everybody for their failure, but not everybody. She wants to. Her model is black on black, right? She claims a lot. There's a black on black crimes. There's a lot of black on black this, and there's a lot of black on that. And she's always giving you numbers. She doesn't give you the real deal of how things work in a society, how things really work in society. Like she claimed that there's 14% of the people, 14% of the population, 14% of the U.S. population is black. 53% of the crimes are committed by black. But those, she's not looking at the statistic that those are probably arrested people. Those are people who are not being convicted. That's a big difference. If anyone knows, there's 333 million people in the United States of America. Since the last census, we haven't gotten anything yet. on the new one. And out of those 333 million people, 60, I think 63% of them are white. So you would assume more white people are in jail, more white people commit crime, and blah 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 blah. But the thing is that I want to talk about this woman because she is anti-black. You know, she goes against her own people, and that's sad. And that's sad. And then you have all these people saying, "Well, Candice Owens will be a great presidential run for to 2024. That she'll be a great president." No, she would not. But just put it this way: Do you actually think? Do you actually think that the right wing? Do you think that the Republican Party would actually vote for Candice? No. I want to show you a report about Candice here, but I'm just looking for it. These are the people. I mean, you have youngsters that might do it, that might vote for Candice, but older Republicans, older conservatives won't vote for Candice because they were against Barack Obama. They were against Barack Obama. And do you think they're going to vote for Candice Owens? Come on, man. They haven't even acknowledged that the riot was a riot. They haven't acknowledged that. To them, they want to compare the riots to the Black Lives Matter movement. That's how senile they are. Hey, Madula. So, talking about Candice Owens. So, here's a report that I have. And for you guys who don't know it, Candice Owens is from Connecticut. And Candice Owens, at one point in her life, she had a problem in Connecticut, which she sued. She sued a white couple, a white kid, and she used the NAACP. The NAACP helped her out in her lawsuit, and she won. And now she has the audacity to say that the NAACP is the worst. I'm going to show you something. This is something that I say here. It says here, every receipt proving Candice Owens is a con artist who is following the money. I'm going to show you something that so you can listen to. Okay, every receipt proving that Candice Owens has the money. Candice Owens has repeatedly made her anti-black platform. But in case that there was any confusion, she most recently doubled down on her self-hatred with despicable comments trying to criminalize George Floyd in his death. The sunken conservative pundit who seemingly outdoes her hate each time she says something. I'm reading this. You guys want to read it? Hold on. You can't read it. Accused Floyd of having drugs when he was arrested and scoffed at people treating him like a martyr. Now, here's Candice Owens, like the little young kid Shapiro. Chris Tucker, and all this, and all those people who are trying to say that we are making George Floyd's death a murder with that martyr, that we're trying to make George Floyd a martyr, that we're trying to make him an idol. No, we're not doing that. What we are doing is we are making our voice clear that his death, despite of what we're not questioning that he was a great person because he had his background. But just because he had a background, we all make mistakes. We all have demons. We all do shit, right? But these people, the Candice Owens of the world, are trying to minimize his death to make it seem this little, but to exaggerate and to put this much emphasis on his past, that he was high, that he was drugged, that he was this, he was that. And that's not the question that we have here. The question that we have here is that this man, like today, the doctor said that George Floyd died because he didn't have oxygen to the brain. Fentanyl does not do that. All right, fentanyl does not cut oxygen to your brain. None of that, anything that he was on does not cut oxygen to the brain. So we all know where that came from. That oxygen, that lack of oxygen to the brain. We all know where they came from. The infamous knee, right? Okay. Back to Cohen's. So I'm going to read something to you that's on here, so you can note that it's not something that I came up with.
And on her special day, you promised her a special celebration.
Okay,
But if slow upload speeds won't let your video call through, oh,
put that on pause. Okay, let me write something. Read something to you. Without her crutch of having Donald Trump as president, Candace Owens is increasingly making desperate attempts to capitalize on her dwindling 15 minutes of infamy. Case in point, the conservative black white supremacists went and reignited her running feud with rapper Cardi B in a disingenuous attempt at championing women's rights along racial lines, of course. So here you got Candace Owens, who got nothing else to do, who's supposed to be smart, goes trying to match up with Cardi B. We all know what she said about Cardi B. You're doing the WAP. What kind of things are you trying to teach America? That's why the kids are the way they are, and blah this and blah that and blah this and blah that. Okay, whatever message Candice Owens is portraying, I mean, Cardi B is portraying. That's on her. That's her music. But you gotta give Cardi B respect, because Cardi B has always been real on her game. All right. After Owens, who notably has sympathized with Nazi leader Adolf Hitler, and repeatedly blamed black men for being killed by the police. Now listen to this. She has gone on to say that she's blamed black men for being killed by the police. Went on Fox News to express her outrage at Cardi B performance at the Grammys Awards Sunday night. The rapper fired back in a series of tweets Tuesday afternoon, prompting a lively back and forth between the two. Candace Owens said something, and black women should be more like you. After all, fighting for equality and freedom, they should be submissive to a white man after years of abusive and rape, making them a sandwich while pregnant cause, in your words, by pregnant cause, in your words, that's the woman should do. Interesting. And then Cardi B said whatever the case may be. But as unusual, always attempts to come across as a holier than thou backfired, shining light on her latest effort at her signature con artistry to convince people she's a better person than Cardi B, who expertly exposed the flawed line of reasoning. Owens was angry that Cardi B was getting the attention on his song the WAP. We're not gonna get to the back and forth with what she did with Candace Owens. But I mean, not with Cardi B. So here goes. Okay, in the latest proof among the mounting evidence that Candace Owens is a fraud, and we have an endless recipe. Okay, lawsuit with the NAACP. Owens now called the NAACP one of the worst groups for black people. This is what she said, one of the worst groups for black people, quote unquote. Even though the organization helped her win a racial discrimination lawsuit in 2007, she accused some white boys of racially harassing and threatening to kill her. Owens claimed that the boys were the son of the Stamford mayor, Daniel Malloy, Connecticut's former governor. Because of the NAACP, Owens' family received a settlement of $37,500 from the Stamford Public School. Okay. Scott X. Esdali, the Connecticut's NAACP president who helped Owens with her lawsuit, was shocked to hear she became a conservative. Esdali told Mick, we're very sad and disappointed in her. It seemed that she's now trying to play a different type of demographic. He also said the same type of thing Clarence Thomas, the U.S. Supreme Court judge, did, reap all the benefits of affirmative action and try to roll over on it. It's that kind of mentality and disrespect. In May 2018, BuzzFeed reported that Candace Owens was the CEO of an anti-Trump, liberal-leaning website called Degree 180. Owens wrote in 2015 that it was good news that the Republican Tea Party will eventually die off peacefully in their sleep, we hope. Degree 180 also talked about Trump's penis size and him being racist with an immigrant's wife. So here she is talking about Donald Trump, his penis size, but she had Degree 180, right? This is what she said. Fox News. By March 2018, Owens was slithering onto TV station and finally made it into Fox News. She spit out lines, went viral, and made her darling of insidious conservatives. Owens said the National Rifle Association was founded as a civil rights organization that protected black people from the KKK. No, it was not. I've never heard. I've never heard that before. That's so interesting. She never heard it before either because it was a lie. And she says the Democrats have been good at wiping away history and rewriting it. Talks about joining the NRA, which says she started as a civil rights organization. Political fact confirmed she lied or just willfully ignored, according to the NRA Owens website, dismayed by the lack of marksmanship shown by the troops. Union veterans Colonel William C. Church and General George Wingate formed the National Rifle Association in 1871. The primary goal of the association would be to promote and encourage rifle shooting on a scientific basis, according to magazines editorial written by Church. Another lawsuit back in January of this year. Okay, that went up. Another lawsuit back in January of this year. Owens attacked New York's Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for being physically irresponsible because the newly elected congressman wouldn't afford an apartment in Washington, D.C. However, reporter Nathan Bernard exposed Owens by posing a lawsuit that shows she rented a $3,500 apartment, lived there for 6 months rent-free, then claimed she had gotten toxic mold sickness and threatened to sue her landlord to avoid payments. Interesting, right? This is what it says here. Nathan Bernard said at the age of 28, Candice Owens was this is on Instagram, on Twitter that I'm reading. At the age of 28, Candice Owens was so physically irresponsible that she rented a $3,500 apartment, lived there for 6 months rent-free, and claimed she had gotten toxic sickness and threatened to sue her landlord. And there goes the lawsuit. It got paper right there. She allegedly stopped paying rent in September of 2016 and was evicted in January 2017, which coincides with her coming out as a conservative only months later. As for the mold claim, a legal analyst told Bernard Media, the obvious question is that if the place was so unlivable, why stay there for 6 months? Exactly, right? So if the place was unlivable, why would Candice only stay there for 6 months? You got mold, you get out. Then you sue from the outside. Get another apartment, you do a civil lawsuit. Why? Because she's playing to the narrative of conservative. She wants to be with this white group. And it's a shame. It really is a shame that she's come from that the NAACP has helped her out. And she has come with this thing on attacking. She's always attacking the black person. She never has anything to say with her own people. Everything that she says is always on numbers and numbers, black on black, black on black, black on black crimes, black on this and black on that. This woman has never sat down and actually spoken to a poor black person. She's never spoken to a person from the projects, never spoken to a person from the streets, whether they're black, white, never like that. Never spoken to a poor person and ask them, why are you in a situation? Why do you live in the projects? Why are you unemployed? Why do you get food stamps? Why do you that? None of that stuff has ever occurred to her. What occurs to her is just numbers that feeds into the people's brain, the right conservatives or the right wings. That feeds into their brains, and they don't have anything else to say or to think, but only what Candice Owens says, or what Shapiro says, or what Carson Tucker says, or whatever any of them say. Everything that they spew is just a plain old lie. It says here, a social autopsy. In the spring of 2016, Owens launched an anti-cyberbullying website called Social Autopsy. She reportedly started a Kickstarter campaign to raise $75,000. She sure likes money she doesn't have to work for. CTpost.com described the site as a searchable database of offensive speech found on social media. Owens wanted to expose people. Owens wanted to expose people who anonymously harassed others online, which is known as doxing and is huge a no-no among conservatives. She claims she got pushback from the left, which was allegedly one of the sparks that lit her conservative fire. So that means, boom, that she goes. Blanks. I'm not. See, this is how much you know about me. I never said the left was any better. Am I a Democrat? No. If you know anything about me, I'm in the middle. I vote for whatever person I think is best fits the country. She claims she got a pushback from the left, which was allegedly one of the Spurs things. However, Quillette.com reported it was the right who attacked her. While Owens portrayed herself as a victim of leftist persecution, the fact is that the initial backlash against social autopsy came mostly from the cultural libertarian opposition to the authoritarian left, YouTube bloggers and Mario, whatever the case may be. So, am I saying that? Yes, I voted that. I voted Democrat. There is no other option. There is no other option. Back in 2016, I was going to vote Republican. And when Donald Trump won, I said, no, I'm not voting Republican. I didn't even vote because I didn't like Hillary Clinton. Never liked it. Hillary Clinton was good as a lawyer. And she may do all that. She may be a good wife because, she forgave Bill Clinton. But as a politician, I never liked her, even when she was a senator for New York. Yes, she's for the poor, and that's very great. But no, it doesn't. It all depends. It all depends who comes up with ideas, Blanks. If you look at history, I'm 49 years old. All right, since 1988. I'm not talking about Donald. I'm not talking about Ronald Reagan. I'm talking about George Bush. Since 1988, every campaign that you hear us, all we talk about is immigration, health, and jobs. Jobs, right? You try to walk the line like politicians you despise. No, I don't. There are Republicans that I do like, as a matter of fact, and the Democrats that I do like, and the liberals that I do like. Okay, I don't despise no one. That's a harsh word. I just may not like them. I may not like their views. What I was saying. So it all depends who in 224 stands up. Like I said, I was going to vote red in 2016. As a matter of fact, I was going to vote for Rubio. And when Rubio went head to head with Donald Trump at the end, he just kept attacking Donald Trump. He kept attacking Donald Trump. That's when I said he's going to lose, because that was a bad move. If he would have kept on with what the country needed, he probably would have won. But anyway, so from 1988, all you hear about immigration, jobs, and health. Okay, why those three things have not been done yet is because if you get a good job system, then there's nothing to talk about the next 4 years or when it comes to voting. If you fix immigration, there wouldn't be anything to talk about in the next election. And if you fix immigration, if you fix the health system, universal for all, let's just say, then you wouldn't have a health issue to talk about. So what will you talk about? So they put little patches, and I'm talking about both Democrats and Republicans. Because I'm going to tell you something. The Democrats, a lot of them wants to get rid of the filibuster, all right? So they want to force Joe Biden to get rid of the filibuster, which is a good idea to get rid of anyways for both parties. But what happened, the thing that gets me angry is that they say this is a Jim Crow thing because it's past tense, But when Barack Obama was president of the United States in his 2 terms, he had both the House and he had both the Senate. I mean, the House of Representatives and the Senate. Why didn't he eliminate, or why didn't the Democrats eliminate the filibuster then when they had it? When they had it, they did a good thing with the Obamacare. Obamacare was a good thing, and I say it's a good thing because I talk with doctors about Obamacare. I talk with people with Obamacare. People have told me, King Gio, when I was without Obamacare, I couldn't afford the surgery that I got now, and because of Obamacare, I did. And you have other people saying, but these are people that have money that says, you know what, Gio, my Obamacare, I was paying this much money when I had my insurance, and with Obamacare, my premium went up. Well, those are people who got money. The rich people, those are the ones who were telling me this. But people who are like you and I, who work 9 to 5 or whatever, 8 hours, 10 hours a day, and they're getting paid little money, and they're barely making it, but they're making it. They're barely making it. Have told me my insurance company wouldn't pay for the surgery that I got, but with Obamacare, I did. So something good came out of that Obamacare, or it's coming out of that Obamacare. Then you have Donald Trump that destroys everything. So It's not that I walk the line. I don't walk the line for no one. If in 20 from here to 2014, if 2024, if Biden does not do what he can be done, because you got to remember this thing though. A lot of people blame the president, and not just this president. You could say Trump, you could say Barack Obama, you could say any president, but the president can only do so much. Who passes the law? Both chambers do. It has to go through both chambers, and then it goes to the president to sign. Either he signs it and makes it a law, or he vetoes it. Then it can go back to the House, then it can go back to the Senate, and the Senate can over veto that veto. You can say, you know what, this law is going to go, like they did with Donald Trump's military bill. He wanted it passed. No, he vetoed it because he said he was going to veto it. So Donald Trump vetoed it, and the Senate still passed it with the veto because Majority Leader Mitch McConnell wanted money and wanted to restore military. You know, so it has to go before you point the finger. Any president, whether Democrat or Republican, you got to point the finger at the House, the members of the House of Representatives, and your senators, because they're the one that passes the law. They're the one that sit down and do this and do that. The president just signs, bro. That's all he does or she does. A president is basically a puppet, to be honest with you. But a president can give ideas. And if the president gives out ideas, then he can take those ideas and share it with the House and share it with the Senate. And if they like it, they'll pass it. But those are just ideas. But in reality, the senators that you put in, the House of Representatives, those representatives that you put in, those are the ones that are bad. Like let's talk about progressives. Anything wrong with progressives? No. What the word progressive means: to progress, to move forward. Blanks is the one who's a right wing. Says everyone's got to work for their own thing. Yes, everyone's got to work for their own thing, but everybody doesn't have the luxury to work for their own thing. Everybody doesn't have that. So before everybody starts saying, "Oh, everybody has to carry their own weight," if you never came from the hood, if you never come from a poor neighborhood, if you don't know what that means, then people shouldn't be talking, because everybody doesn't have that energy. Everybody is not born. Everybody's not born with the energy. Say, you know, I want to move forward. I want to go forward. I want to do this. Everybody's not like that. Everybody's different. My father, I remember my dad when he was working for $3.35 an hour, and he used to work. He lived in the Bronx. He went from the Bronx every day. Woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, left the house at 5, and traveled from the Bronx to Queens to Paragon Paints. Whoever knows anything about Queens, you know, Paragon Paints in Queens, New York, to work for $3.35 an hour. And those $3.35 an hour, my father had a car. My father had insurance. He made a house in Puerto Rico with my mom. And then after they finished the house in Puerto Rico, they went to Puerto Rico and lived in Puerto Rico. And my father was still working in a paint factory for $3.35 an hour. He bought himself a brand new car. He was paying $100 and some odd dollars a month. I think it's $180 a month. And that's a lot because you only get an hour. You know? So my father made it. Not made it like in the sense that you guys want to make it. You guys want to be rich. You guys want to do this. You guys want to do that. No, but my father didn't make it. You know, in his eyes, what he did for $3.35 and what he accomplished for $3.35 an hour, he did it. And you can do that. And you can't do that. And that's what we all should try for. You know, so like I said before, I'm with the group I'm with that person who has my values. It doesn't have to be my values. Who could also think like me somewhat. You know, doesn't have to have my values because my values are different. But at least have the right idea. Help the poor. I mean, there's a lot of things that both parties can do, but they choose not to do it. They choose not to. They choose not to. you know. But at times it is what it is, man, and that's where you have to step up your game and say, you know what, I'm doing this for me. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you vote for. Because at the end of the day, you have to do you. They're not gonna do you. Okay? Look at it, put this way. Donald Trump, when he came into office, every person that he appointed was a millionaire. A millionaire. Du Bois is a billionaire, and he put her ahead of the Secretary of Education. The guy, each and every one of those people that he put there was a billionaire or to a millionaire. He put Chet's owner to be attaché to England or whatever the attaché does, and he stood there for 4 years, getting paid, doing nothing. A billionaire. Okay, the only thing that he did was he put poor. What was his name? Ben Carson, poor Ben Carson, neurologist, Surgeon General. That's the general. The general. He's a neurologist surgeon. He put him head of HUD, housing. What was it? Housing under development, and he put him to change. He put him in charge of HUD. What does Ben Carson have to do with HUD? Why you didn't make him Surgeon General? Why did he make him something that qualifies him in his field? Because Donald Trump is a narcissist, and Donald Trump wanted to appoint a black person to HUD because in his eyes, most people that are on HUD are black. So he said, let's put this person there. Let's give Ben Carson a job at HUD so they don't say that my team is anti-black. Right? When Donald Trump went into office, if you look at the White House website, it's both in Spanish and in English. He took the Spanish part out. He just left it in English. People don't know the things that man has done. He's not a politician, that is true. But he's a narcissist man who only does things for his benefits or the benefits that's around him. And that's the part that I don't like. Right? You tell me that he did something. If you tell me that he did something to benefit the poor people, then show it to me. And then I can agree with you. But until then, that's not going to happen. Like I said, I don't vote left. I don't vote right. I vote for the person who I believe is the best candidate. And he's not the best candidate. He wasn't the best candidate. He never will be a best candidate for anything that he does. Right? So we're talking about Candice Owens. So here she is spewing numbers, because that's all she does is spew numbers. She's so moronic that she says, "Oh, look at the crime of black on black crime. That's up high." But what she doesn't see is that when she doesn't say white on white crime, because on those eyes, white on white crime don't exist, right? That doesn't exist, white on white crime. But black on black crime does exist, right? So she says black people are killing black people. Well, if you live in a neighborhood and they're predominantly black, that's what's going to happen. If you live in a Chinese neighborhood and they're predominantly Chinese, the Chinese is going to kill Chinese. Chinese are going to rob Chinese, right? So why don't you say, what about Asian killing Asians, or Indians killing Indians, or Muslim killing Muslim, or Mexicans killing Mexicans? What did you say? The only thing that I could say that I give Donald Trump credit for, and this is a good thing, the only thing that I give Donald Trump credit for is that he went after MS-13, the Salvadorian gang. He went after them, and that's the right thing to do. Any president should get rid of all gangs completely. You swipe them off. You go to LA. You take them off the streets, and if they're here illegally, send them back. You don't even send them back, because there's no reason why we should have gangs in the streets anyways. There's no reason, not in the 21st century, but we still got gangs. And he went after the MS-13. I'll give you a story. In Long Island a few years ago, MS-13 had killed like 10, 11 people, and mostly girls. And they lived in a part of Long Island that a lot of people didn't say nothing, because the people that were there were immigrants. They were illegal. So they thought that if they came forward, they would say something. So they couldn't even mourn the death of their kids, or they did mourn them. They couldn't report the death. They couldn't put a report saying my daughter or my son was killed by MS-13 or my son and daughter were killed because the police officers either one, they didn't know that, or they just didn't care because these people were illegals. So why get involved? Okay. So these MS-13 members took advantage of that and said they're not going to report it. So we're just going to keep on doing what we got to do until President Trump came over and he eliminated them, at least from that perspective on Long Island. I don't know if he eliminated it. I don't know if he eliminated MS-13 in California, but he did it on Long Island. And that's something that should have been done a long time ago. You know, if you're a member of society, if you're a member of your block and you see a gang being formed, it is your right to all of you get together and take that block out. I mean, take that gang out. You know, and the cops are paid to do their job. So these officers probably said, these people are illegals. Why help them? They're here illegally. Screw them. That's probably their mentality. But for the most part, they didn't report because they were afraid. So I am glad that's the one thing that Donald Trump did do good. I do give him credit for that. I give him credit for that. And don't start saying to me, okay, Gio, what about the prison reform? He didn't do nothing for the prison reform. That prison reform was, and I'm saying this because it just came to my head. I don't mean to abstract myself going another way. I say this because this is something that he did only on a federal level. Because he didn't do prison reform for regular prisoners. He did the prison reform into federal levels. And who, if you look at the statistic, Candice Owens, who's in federal prison most? White people. Because federal prison is basically for white collar crime. Bank robbery, credit card fraud, embezzlement, the RICO Act. All that kind of stuff is federal. So you go to a federal joint. And most federal prisoners are white. And that's a fact. So who does help? It helps them. He pardoned everybody from his campaign that was found guilty or was going to go to jail. He pardoned them because he knew, these people play this smart. If Donald Trump wins the presidency, he's going to pardon me anyway. So it doesn't matter if I go to jail. I'm going to get pardoned, and it's exactly what he did. So, do you think that in 2024? If Candice Owens decides to go for president, she's going to get voted in? No. She's not. She's good with numbers. Anyone can be good with numbers. But she's not for the people. And let's just say she was for the people. Let's just say she was. Do you actually think that she's going to get in on the Republican Party? Do you think that the Republican Party, do you think any member, not any member, do you think any person who's voted Republican is going to vote for her? Like I said before, the Republican Party was against Barack Obama. And this man is half black. And they were against him. Candice Owens is full black. And you think they're going to vote her in? Like I said, maybe the young voters, yeah. But these old conservative, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old, are not going to vote for Candice Owens. They're not. And that's a plain fact. Because the ones that would vote for are young people, and the one who will not vote for who are anti-black. And maybe she speaks too educational for these people that they wouldn't understand. But they do like idiocity, like when you see reports, you see where it says when they do interviews to these Republicans, and it said one Republican that asked him, "Have you read the transcript? Have you read the transcript?" No, I haven't read the transcript. But they believe what Tucker Carlson says, and this guy says, "Oh no, I believe our president." You believe our president? No. Joe Biden is my president. If Joe Biden tells me this is what we did because we had to do this, no, I'm not going to believe him. I'm going to make sure that I do my research. And through research, you'll find out what really happened. What really happened. Just because he's the president of the United States does not mean that I'm going to believe everything he says or everything that comes out of his mouth. Okay? So whenever Donald Trump was making a speech, he was reading from a teleprompter. People say, "Oh, did you hear what Donald Trump said about this?" No, that Donald Trump just spoke. He didn't say anything because everything that he said was written. He has a speechwriter. He has people write for him saying, "Oh, say this. This is going to bring the attention of the people." Same thing with Biden. I like. At the beginning, I didn't like him, but towards the end, I did. Barack Obama. I like the way he speaks. He speaks eloquently. He speaks like a true person that actually went to college. I mean, you don't have to go to college to be astute. You know, you could be astute in many ways. You don't have to be college grad to be a smart person. You know, you just got to know. You got to know. You got to know your way. And he just knew how to speak to the educated people of the world. And you have Donald Trump saying, "Oh, you know what? He's not American because he doesn't have a birth certificate." Blah. His name is Barack Obama. He's half white. He's half black. He's not even white. His mother's white, and so I think his father, whatever, African or whatever. But that's what it is. But you have people like Candice Owens who just says numbers, but never comes out with the truth. And if you ever want to speak, if you ever want to know what goes on in America, take yourself down to the hood. Take yourself down to the projects. Take yourself down to your downtown area to where you see most minorities, and speak to somebody out there and ask them why do you live here? Why do you think these things are bad? Why do you join a gang? And what the case may be? And they'll be able to tell you. You can know. Don't let these numbers fool you. Don't let these numbers tell you. No, go to the source. And that's how you get your story. You go to the source and let the source tell you, okay, King Gio, I'm in the gang because most of them will tell you I'm in the gang because something happened with my family. My family's not supportive, and I feel comfortable and I feel like home with the gang. Okay? Why do you live in a project and you don't have an apartment, you don't have your own house? Oh, I live in a project because it's all I can afford right now. And if the government's paying me, blah, and you're gonna have some people say, "Oh, let the government pay for me. It's free." You're gonna have people like that, whether it's black or white. You're gonna have people who are like that. Okay, so those are the trying. So when a person speaks that way, your job or someone's job or society's job is to try to change this person's perspective on how life should be. Life should be is that you work hard to get what you want. You work hard to be where you're gonna want to be. Okay, you don't depend on the government. That's a no-no. You don't depend that the government gives you handout. That's a no-no. You don't depend that the government buys you shit. No, that's a no-no. I believe in helping the poor. I believe in helping those who cannot help themselves. If you were working and you broke an arm or you broke a leg and you need to go on welfare, fine dandy. If you cannot physically work, then fine and dandy. But if you're able to work and you can move these two hands and you can move your 2 feet, then you should work. All right. If you don't like construction, too bad. Work construction. If you don't like working on the floors, then work on the floors. Because you have to work in order to survive. You don't depend on no government. No one should depend on no government. That's the wrong thing to do. Because when you do that sometimes and your kids see you doing that, they want to emulate you. They want to say, "Well, my mom and dad, they're on welfare. They're on food stamps. They don't pay nothing. That's the way I want to live." No, because we're made on this earth to progress. We're made on this earth to evolve. God put us here for a purpose. We're doing God's purpose, right? We're doing God. Our purpose of God is to be good Christians, to help those who can't help themselves, to help our brothers and sisters out, to accept the Lord Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior, and to practice and to preach the gospel of God. That's what we have to do as Christians. That is our mission spiritually. Okay, that's what we do spiritually. But when it comes to physical, we have an agenda, and that agenda is to evolve. That agenda is to work. That agenda is to survive, not to live on government programs, not to live on SSI, not to live on food stamps, not to live on Section 8. No, that's not the way the system functions, and it shouldn't function that way. So when people do that, that does get me mad because I've seen a lot of people who can work, but they choose not to. I know a lot of people who work under the table so they can collect food stamps. Because They get money here. It's so stupid because if you think about it, here you are working. You're working under the table, right? But you're not contributing to no taxes. You're not contributing to your own Social Security. So if you get hurt, you can't work, then you get disability. If you get to your 62, 65, salud, 62 or 65, you can retire on your Social Security. People don't think like that. They just want to get a handle whether it's left, whether Democrats or Republicans. And those things have to stop. So instead of us going for universal college, we should go for universal vocational school. To learn a trade, teach everyone a trade. You want to get on food stamp? I'll get you on food stamp, but you're gonna have to do a trade. And once you finish that trade, if you're an electrician, you have to work. You have to work for the city. You got to give the city a year of city work. You're gonna get paid, but you're gonna work for the city. I want your skills to go to the city for at least a year or two. Then after that, you can go on your own. You want to be a plumber? Then you're gonna work for the city. You want to work. If you want to work, you want to live on NYCHA. Then NYCHA, teach them how to do plumbing. Teach them how to do this, and let them be a plumber for you. Let them work for the city. Let them earn what they got. Just don't give it to them. And I say this a lot to the Democrats. Don't give it to them. But it is what it is, right? But it's a shame. It really is. So whenever you hear people like that, Candice always talk blah, 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 blah. All she does is numbers, guys. Numbers. And no, she can't do. Because she doesn't, she's very hollow. She really is. So, guys and girls, this is my show. This is the GeoGeo show. Thank you for stopping by. Tomorrow will be another live, probably be like around 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, or even late night. I might do a late night tomorrow, as starting tomorrow, because I got to work at 11 o'clock at night. I'll be home like around 11:10, 11:20, and I can do a live then. All right, so I could do a late night with King Geo if you guys are up to it. It'll be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Monday. All right, until my next day off. So, guys, thank you for shopping by. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate everyone who's going to see this in the future. Thank you very much. And hey, don't forget the malt beverage, Malta India. You can get these at Walmart. These taste good. This is the bomb, kids. I'm telling you, you can get addicted. All right, people. God bless, man.